This might be the only card you'll ever need when you're traveling. No annual fees, zero forex fees, and 100% unlimited cashback and competitive exchange rates. I've tested it myself and I'm honestly quite shocked at how much I like it. This card is the Trust Bank credit card. Hi, I'm Ray. On this channel, I dive into personal finance, savings, and investing, sharing the best deals and tips to help us all maximize our money. If you've been following the credit card scene, you know that the City Amaze card got nerfed and its days might be numbered. And while I hope that it sticks around, anything can happen. When I travel, after exceeding the 1000 limit on the City Amaze combo, the backup card has always been the YouTrip card. I've used it extensively for years now, and it's by far one of the most used multi-currency card there is in Singapore. The perks of using a multi-currency card is that you get to avoid huge fees when you're spending in an overseas currency. When you transact in a foreign currency, be it in person or online, so long as it is a foreign currency, you'll be charged a foreign transaction fee by the credit card issuer, like your banks, as well as a dynamic currency conversion fee by network providers like your MasterCard, Visa, or Amex. These fees are typically a percentage of the transaction amount, and when you add it all up, you're paying upwards of about 3% or more. The use of a multi-currency card like YouTrip or Trust can help negate all of these fees, as you're technically paying the merchant in their own currency, therefore avoiding the fees charged by the banks and network providers as a whole. That's why multi-currency cards are all amazing, because it helps you save on those extra fees when you're traveling. The only downside though is that these cards do not award you any rewards for your overseas spending, no miles or cashback. And as somebody who loves to get most value out of my transactions, this is especially true when I'm traveling, because this is where I spend the most money. But recently, I tried out the Trust Bank credit card and I was pretty surprised at the outcome. Trust Bank is a partnership between Standard Chartered Bank and NTUC, and the Trust Bank credit card offers the following benefits: zero foreign transaction fee, no annual fees, no minimum spending, and most importantly, 1% cashback on all your spending besides your preferred category, meaning you pretty much get 1% on everything you spend on up to your spending limit. Amazing for people who want to do some high-end luxury shopping, provided Trust Bank gives you a high limit lah. Just imagine that the cashback you can get on those branded bags. A $10,000 transaction can pretty much get you almost $100 in cashback. Not a bad deal if you put it that way. For those who have used the multi-currency card before, have you ever got declined when you're paying overseas because you forgot to top up your card, or you didn't realize the amount you initially deposited is used up? Then you're just stuck there feeling embarrassed, and then the cashier has to wait for you to top up your card before you pay again. Well, with the Trust Bank credit card, you won't have this problem, because it's a credit card and you can just spend as per normal and pay off the balance at the end of the month. Credit cards like Trust are better than multi-currency cards for fraud protection as well. With all credit cards, you're required to have a minimum income before applying. For this one, a $30,000 per annum salary is needed when you sign up. I recommend getting both the credit card and the Trust Bank account, which will give you a debit card at the same time. Trust me, I'll explain to you why later on. Alright, let's talk about my trips, where I put this card to the test. These are all the transactions that were made up during the trip. Let's compare these transactions to the spot rate offered by the exchange. Trust exchange rate was 1 Thai baht to 0.0397 SGD. The spot rate from the exchange is about 1 Thai baht to 0.0395 SGD. That's about a 0.38% difference. Generally, this is the spread difference I noticed with the Trust card. I compared another transaction from my recent JB trip, where I actually tested both the YouTrip card and the Trust Bank credit card together to see the exchange rate. On XE, the exchange rate is about 1 SGD to 3.358 Malaysian ringgit. YouTrip is 1 SGD to 3.351, and Trust is 1 SGD to 3.33. If you calculate the spread from both cards, YouTrip is at 0.24%, while Trust is at 0.76%. The Trust card generally has a worse spread as compared to the YouTrip in every scenario that I've tested. However, once accounting for that 1% cashback, Trust actually gives you a better spread overall, and even resulting in a net gain of about 0.24%. So you are actually getting some form of cashback. Now let's talk about why the Trust Bank credit card stands out, especially if you're traveling overseas for prolonged periods of time. Remember, I've said to open the Trust Bank account. Here's why. With the Trust Bank account, you can actually withdraw unlimited cash from overseas ATM with zero fees. compared to that of other multi-currency cards, which caps you around $400 to $500 a month for ATM withdrawals. If you're too busy to exchange cash before a trip, or if you're living abroad for an extended period of time and do not want to change a huge lump sum of money, or you're going through different cities with different multiple currencies, this will come in super handy. Plus, the trust account has no minimum balance, so you can keep your money in a high-yield savings account somewhere else and only transfer what you need before you withdraw. One big caution that I have to warn you guys: do not use the Trust Bank credit card for ATM withdrawals. Only use the debit card, because when you use a credit card, that is treated as a cash advance and you'll get hit with a crazy interest rate of more than 20%. So remember to only stick with the debit card for cash withdrawal. I'm not gonna say the good without mentioning the bad, but thankfully Trust doesn't have that much bad points. The only real downside compared to the other multi-currency cards like YouTrip is the inability to pre-swap your currency. Meaning, if you find the currency rate really attractive now, like when the Japanese yen was at 1 is to about 120, and you think that the rates are going to get worse nearer to your trip, you can actually pre-swap and lock in the rates. However, this is something that the Trust Bank credit card can't do. Another downside is that you cannot use gyro to pay off your Trust Bank credit cards for now. For those who are aware, if you use bank accounts like your HSBC EGA to pay off your credit card bills, you get about 1% cashback. I reached out to Trust Bank and one of their representatives confirmed that you cannot do that, meaning you have to manually pay off your credit card bills through the normal method, or you can transfer money into the Trust savings account and pay it off that way. Secondly, when comparing the Trust card's base currency exchange rate, it's actually not as competitive as YouTrip. It seems to only get better when you factor in that 1% cashback. So to be honest, if Trust one day decides to nerf this 1% cashback benefit, you will actually be getting worse rates than cards like YouTrip. Alright, so here's my game plan for using the Trust Bank credit card when I travel. Honestly, it's gonna be my go-to card right after I hit my $1,000 cap on my Citi Rewards and Amaze combo. For now, the Amaze card is still my best bet for earning miles overseas. It's pretty much the only solid option out there unless they decide to nerf it again lah. Fingers crossed that that doesn't happen, but you never know what will. So yeah, that's my strategy. Use Amaze until I max out my $1,000 limit, which, let's be real, is quite easy to blow through on a trip. Once that's done, I'm switching right to the Trust card for everything else, and I will use the YouTrip card as my last backup. But here's the thing, I won't be using the Trust Bank credit card in Singapore because I'm all about chasing miles and not cashback. I've said it before that I'm not really a huge fan of cashback cards. They always make you jump through hoops to get the advertised cashback rates. Like for the Trust Bank credit card, you got to spend $500 every month for a whole quarter just to unlock the minimum cashback rate. If you're a miles chaser like me and you only intend to use the Trust Bank credit card for overseas travel, do note that you will essentially be forfeiting the cashback card on your preferred category unless you can hit effectively $500 minimum spend every month for the next 3 months. Do not, and I repeat, do not make the same mistakes like me. Please do not select a category as something that you will generally tend to spend on during your travels, such as food or shopping. Instead, choose something like entertainment. This way you're not restricted by the minimum spending requirement, and that you can maximize the 1% cashback earned for categories you will actually use. But if you like to use this card as your cashback card of choice, that's definitely something that you can do. It offers pretty decent cashback rates once you go into the specifics, and you can select the preferred category as anything you like as long as you're confident that you can hit the minimum spending requirements. Right now, if you sign up, you'll get a $10 FairPrice e-voucher immediately, and look out for additional quest challenges in your Trust Bank app that you can complete for extra rewards. I'll put my referral code here on screen and also down in the description below. This is perfect for anyone planning to go travel soon, especially for parents gearing up for the holidays in June. Full disclosure, this video isn't sponsored. I just think this card is incredible and I want more people to know about it. Trust regularly updates their promotions, so check out their websites for the latest offers when you apply. So there you have it. The Trust Bank credit card has completely changed how I approach overseas spending. Have you tried the Trust Bank credit card or other credit cards that have not been mentioned in this video for your travels? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. If you found this helpful, give it a thumbs up and hit subscribe, and also join my Telegram group for more tips. Links in the description. If you got any question as well, comment below and I'll see you in the next video.